every recipe is unique in a way. So what I do is I tend to look at adding that Chef Bezos twist in majority of my dishes.
So who is a chef?
What a chef has that a mom doesn't have is consistency.
Cooking is your passion.
This is something that I loved. I struggle. It's a roller coaster for me. A simple street food that I'm fond of, which is Indian, is the pani puri. I love pani puri.
So welcome to Look and Cook Studios. We have Chef Bezos, who works from 8 to 5. He's a father and he also is a chef. And today we're going to explore his chef life. So to dive straight in, when there is so many recipes around where people can just click and get a recipe, why would people come to you as an influencer to see your recipes?
That's a very good question. I really appreciate that. First of all, thank you for having me here today. And to be honest, every recipe is unique in a way. Why would I be looking for a certain dish that reflects, for instance, ingredients like rice and chicken? Where extra can I add as Chef Bezos to make a twist to that dish and make a different flavor? So what I do, if you recall one of my recent dishes that I did, I added some cranberry sauce. And the cranberry sauce with rice and chicken can mean many things to different people in different cultures. But at the same time, it adds a very unique taste and flavor that people would remember. So what I do is I tend to look at adding that Chef Bezos twist in majority of my dishes because I know that people will enjoy and love that dish when they try it.
Hearing that you create recipes with different twists, so from what age did you start cooking?
To be honest, I started cooking at time of COVID when the corona came in. That's when I explored my inner self of being a chef and joined the School of Culinary and Finishing Arts and graduated with the City and Guilds UK professional chef certificate. So I'm actually a trained chef, not one of those who decided to be a chef on TV. So it's a real thing, you know.
So when I hear that you say a trained chef, a lot of people who cook at home nowadays also call themselves chefs, right? So who is a chef?
Well, that's a very good question. Yes, our moms are chefs, you know, and they're really professional chefs. But what a chef has that a mom doesn't have is consistency, because a chef can always produce the same dish with the same flavor, no less salt, no more sugar, always to that same table, you know, and you will still enjoy that same dish. So why do you keep going to that same restaurant to enjoy that same dish or that same hamburger or that same sandwich, whatever it is? Because it's always the same flavor. But our moms, God bless them, they'll sometimes maybe add extra salt or fry a bit more, you know, so there will always be a little bit of a glitch in the flavor, but you still enjoy that flavor, God bless them, you know. But that's what differentiates a chef. And chef knows the science behind a cook, you know. You can't keep an oil for that long in an oven, but a mom can forget the oil for some reason, she's busy with something else, or the father or whatever. But in general, a chef knows the rules of the kitchen, you know. A mom does it for love and passion. Also chefs do. But I hope I answered your question in a way or another.
Yes, so we had another guest who said that she cooks from her heart,
Exactly.
right? So that's what moms do.
Absolutely.
Whereas a chef is very precise because
Correct.
they won't have to deliver a consistent dish.
Absolutely. It's not a joke, you know. And food is something serious that has a lot of science to it. It has to look appealing. The flavor also has to match that look. So bringing all that science together plays a big role.
So when you're cooking, there's a difference between cooking food to serve the family or to enjoy your meal versus cooking something for content.
Correct.
So what's the difference between the two?
Well, when I'm cooking something for the family, I know exactly what kind of food they like. So the food that they like, for instance, if it's risotto or pasta with creamy mushroom, whatever that dish that they're looking to enjoy, I know exactly the flavor that I'm going to deliver. But when I'm asked to create content for a certain product or a certain company's launching a new product in the market or something that they need to remarket for some reason, I tend to think of things around that can satisfy my followers and the general audience. Because to be honest, not everything I cook at home is something that my family would eat. You know, so there's a different taste bud level between what my family enjoys and what I tend to cook for my audience and followers. Whether it's a dish or a dessert, it all differs, to be honest. Yeah.
So you said that normally when a brand gives you an ingredient or a product that you cook for your audience, isn't there a mismatch? Because when a product is normally given to an influencer, it is cooked for themselves and they share a slice of their life to their audience.
I'll tell you something. For instance, when that time came about the trend of the Dubai chocolate, before it was called Dubai chocolate, it was a trend of the chocolate pistachio and kunafa. So all the influencers, whether he's a chef or not, everyone was doing it online, and it was quite a strong trend. And people just loved it. Everyone was doing it at home, whether you know how to cook or not. And it's simple, you know, it's just mixing certain chocolate amount with kunafa and some pistachio. So this is something that I loved. But ironically, my family was not really passionate about it. The flavor was not something that they liked because they don't like pistachio, for instance, you know. So again, it differs from what the audience and the trend needs versus what my family and house really enjoys eating, you know.
So talking about trends, that's
Yeah.
one of the things you brought up.
Yes.
How
yes.
much do you follow the trends that are there on social media and marketing versus what you are comfortable doing?
Yeah. Well, definitely. To be honest, I don't really keep an eye on trends. I have my own level of things. If it's a trend that I like and believe that I can do something special about it, I'll do it. Other than that, I just enjoy, comment, and share the ongoing trends in the market, you know. But there are certain things that stand out that I really enjoy watching and tend to give it enough attention to try it at home.
So cooking is your passion.
Yes.
How do you juggle between work, passion, and getting brand collaborations, which also require a certain amount of time? Because the time management seems to be like the most important thing to be able to do all of these things.
Correct.
Right? So how do you manage that?
That's definitely a valid question, and I struggle. It's a roller coaster for me, you know, keeping an eye on your work from 8 to 5, and sometimes it extends hours for certain projects that you have to deliver on time. I took a decision from the early beginning when I started my chef life to keep my chef life for the weekend. So even starting Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, I tend to involve also my time around being a chef, but at the same time, I need to be a father. I need to enjoy my weekend with the kids. We need to hang out, you know, things like that. So I made sure this priority is clear to all my agencies and people that I work with, that they understand very well that I'm only available at these certain hours. Because recently I'm also called into restaurants to try their menu or try new dishes and stuff like that. If I'm able to to involve my family to enjoy those dishes with me, I do it, or I bring a friend along or a cousin, and we go together to enjoy, you know, as a family or friends. But majority of the time I tell them, you know, me alone coming is not the best or easiest thing for me to be able to do. I tend to keep it for a Saturday morning or maybe a Sunday afternoon where I know that my family is either sleeping or occupied with something else. So to answer your question, yes, I struggle, to be honest, to keep a balanced time between my chef life and personal life.
And do you involve your family in the content creation process?
Recently, yes, I started involving my elder son in some of the things that I create. He has a light heart and good energy and vibes in the content that I create. So it adds a flavor, and people love to see that natural sort of approach in the kitchen. It adds to the Instagram or whatever social media platform I'm in.
And the younger generation learn to cook in the process as well.
Exactly, exactly.
So when you're creating content, there are different kinds of content I see that you post on your feed, right? There is some behind the scenes, there is some products, there's recipes. What kind of content do you really love making?
I love giving reviews about products to show the story behind that product and how it would add value to certain people in the kitchen. Because to be honest, there's a lot of products when you go to a supermarket that you're not quite familiar with. The simplest of all is the butter that you're using at home. If you go buy butter, a lot of people do not know the percentage of fat that they need to look at or focus in when they're buying butter. Without mentioning any brands, but there are certain brands that has a certain percentage of fat which can add value to your nutrition and health when you're using it, whether to fry an egg, bake something in a cake, you use that butter. So that percentage adds to the structure of the food that you're trying to deliver to your audience or to your people. But a lot of people disregard that. They don't see it. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy delivering that science behind choice of products and why I choose certain products that I promote on my page, because I know the value that these products can bring to my people and followers.
So this is coming back to what you were talking about, a little bit of the science.
Exactly.
And also knowing what people should be eating. It adds value in that form.
Yes.
Right?
You need to build that awareness. You know, people tend to buy anything from the market, believing that this will deliver what they, because I have a lot of followers, they come back to me and tell me, I did it and I baked it and I did everything like you said, but I didn't get the same results. And it's not a chef's secret. There's no magic to it. It's all about following the right ingredients and using the exact same ingredients that I mentioned or whoever chef is promoting that particular dish. So again, it's following the same instructions, but people take things easy, you know.
So, but would you say the quality of the ingredients would make a difference
Yes.
in the results?
Yes, definitely.
Even if you follow the recipe step by step?
Definitely, definitely. You can't lose on a product or an ingredient thinking or believing that you'll deliver the same dish. Why would you pay 70 dirhams for that dish in a restaurant when you can, when the ingredients would actually cost nothing more than 15 dirhams versus another dish with the same content but ingredients costing 50 dirhams and sold at 150, for instance, or 200, because you know the effort and time the chef or the sous chef took to prepare that dish for you, you know.
So, setting aside the effort, what you're saying is the quality of the ingredients also matter in the result of the dish.
Yes, it does, 100%.
So, when I look at it from the health aspect, which is what I'm always concerned about,
Yes.
I think knowing what you're putting to cook is key. So, when I hear you say that you want to promote the product's benefits, I think that helps people be educated on what is good for them or what products is unhealthy or what to look for in a product when they buy it.
Correct. You know, there's a lot of people who come and talk about the nutritional value of a certain product or a certain ingredient. Why would I use a farm-fed egg or a hydrogenic? I know they have lots of different scientific names to different types of eggs all of a sudden, but why is this different than this? Has more omegas or whatever. So again, it actually makes a difference, but not necessarily all of them. There's a lot of marketing specialized in that promotes these type of eggs, but at the end of the day, an egg is an egg. But what makes it different? What makes the yolk and egg white something that you can use in your dishes or your ingredients that you're cooking? This makes a difference as well. It makes a whole big difference when the eggs that you're buying, you know that they're coming from a certain farm, they're well fed. All these criteria make the delivery of that dish proper to your audience and followers, you know. And to be honest, to add to what you're saying, I don't like to fool people on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever platform I'm using. I'm 100% honest and frank with the ingredients that I use. I try not to miss anything out and make sure that they know what they're cooking and how they're cooking it, you know.
So when you're putting out recipes or any kind of content, there are a lot of people who comment, right? How do you feel about that?
I try to give it as much attention as I can because some comments are valid and they make a lot of sense. But let me tell you a funny story. Sometime last year, I posted a reel about a dish that's practically shank meat with prunes. It's something that people would call Moroccan or Algerian. And there's been crazy comments happening on that post where people are claiming that this is originally an Algerian dish and others are claiming that this is originally a Moroccan dish. And there was a war on that particular post where people kept going back and forth on the originality and, the origins of that particular dish. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't even commenting or anything. I just posted how this dish looks like, how I made it, and that's it. But I might have fell in my tongue where I slipped and said it's Moroccan. So the Algerian people got upset. And then the comment and the war started in that particular post. But the interaction was so much fun. Some people tend to kind of go a little bit aggressive against others' comments. I wasn't that aggressive. I was actually enjoying it. And I welcomed everyone with their comments. And I tried to give as much as possible of positive feedback. History is history. Origin of a dish doesn't matter where it really came from. We're here today. We're enjoying the dish. It looks good. we're still eating it. So I don't know why people tend to go back to the origins or history of a dish, because in reality, a lot of dishes are very common between countries in, let's say, between Peru, Brazil, Mexico, that's South America. Then you come here to the Middle East, there are very similar dishes too, but certain ingredients going to India, Southeast Asia, in Thailand, Japan, a lot of cuisines are similar in a way or another. It's just certain ingredients that differentiate that. Cyprus, France, Italy, all these mother recipes,
So having shot over 1,000 recipes, I find that the dishes from around the world are so similar, right? Either you have a flatbread with a meat or a bun with a patty. But the difference is that the ingredient that is available locally and the flavors are local, and that's how it becomes different cuisines. But the main structures are generally the same.
What makes it very unique,
Yes.
a simple street food that I'm fond of, which is Indian, is the pani puri. I love pani puri, the tamarind inside, the smashed potatoes, that crunch that you get in that bite. All these things add up to that one unique experience when you bite it, And the nutritional value behind it, even though it's a street dish, is massive,
Is it?
because the tamarind alone, all these things, the mint flavor that you get within, it all adds up, Besides all the traditional Indian famous dishes, that's something that has caught my attention for quite some time.
But I've not seen a dish similar to that anywhere else.
No,
in the world.
that's why I'm telling you, it's very unique.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very unique dish. You will not find it anywhere. Like, for instance, in Egypt is the kushari, the lentils with the rice and pasta, macaronis and certain sauces and onion. Again, it's a very unique dish. But then people argue and say this is originally a Turkish dish from the Turkish Empire time. And things differed at that time and that stage. That's what I keep questioning, What did our ancestors actually eat? And how did this progress across time to arrive to where we are fine dining today, where we're eating burgers or fries? This only existed in the past 40 to 60 years, It was never there back in the days. It was rice, wheat. They make their own sourdough bread. We don't have all these flavors that we have today, Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? That's another question,
So talking about history, or when did you start posting and becoming an influencer? Or
Okay.
getting on social media?
Yeah, well, that's something my friends kept promoting. Like, why don't you do things? Because I used to do a lot of dishes and internal family supper clubs for the house, cooking a week with Thai food, another week with Indian food, or Arabic food, or Lebanese dishes and desserts here and there. So they're like, why don't you go public? I'm like, that's silly. Why would I even think about it, And then with time, if you actually see my first video that I recorded on YouTube, it's hilarious. You wouldn't even know where I am today, because you have to start somewhere. And regardless, you're professional or not, and you're excited about showing the world what you can do with food, start. Even if it's a 5-minute video of you talking and trying to cut a cucumber or a carrot, start. Show the world that you can do something. Even if you get 2 views or 3 views, it will eventually pick up. A lot of people promised me that when I started, to be honest. I didn't believe it. And my first video did not even get 4 views, I posted again. I started getting recognition. And believe it or not, my first posts were not related to food. It was a trend that came online for some time where people put a cup of coffee with chocolate and they see the chocolate melting inside the coffee and then they drink it. So I did that. You'll see a lot of my videos on YouTube with Kinder Surprise chocolate or the Nutella spoon or any of these things within the coffee, and it adds a flavor. So I used to buy chocolate from time to time from around the world and different chocolate snacks, and I do it with the coffee. And this became a trend all of a sudden. Then people do the fine angle of taping a coffee cup and how the coffee is dripping on top of the chocolate bar until it melts inside, I started that, but no one really noticed or know where did that come from, So I was the beginning of something unique that the entire world is doing now,
I need to go to the bottom of your feed to check it out.
Yeah, eventually. But I didn't post any of these on Instagram. They're all on my YouTube channel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
So if somebody is listening who's a good cook and wants to start posting and becoming a food influencer, what would you say they should start with?
The best dish that they're really comfortable doing all the time, whether you're a guy or a girl, make sure you show your face. People love to see the face, love to see your expressions while you're cooking, and keep it as natural as possible. Even if you're not comfortable talking in front of the camera, just let it roll and go ahead.
So when you're shooting your content, do you use a phone or do you have a setup? How do you work with it?
Well, I have a full setup from light, and I actually renovated my entire kitchen to be more of a Instagrammable kitchen studio. So it accommodates all the necessary lighting, the mics, the sounds, and usually I use a phone and a camera. So it depends on the speed that I need to deliver that particular Instagram reel or dish, usually by phone. Yeah, and I use a mic, of course, a set of 3 mics around my kitchen.
For the ASMR.
Yeah. It's a difference.
Because now that's
It's trending.
Yes, and it gives you 2 senses, right? You visual and hearing.
Absolutely. People love that. Yes,
Correct.
You're right.
So when you're posting food and food content, how much of you do you put out there so that people know you?
I try to keep it in my style and my way, I use my voice, I use my kitchen, my utensils. I don't take anything from outside so that they know that this is purely coming from me as Chef Bezos, and I keep it natural.
So the content that you put out is only about food. So no personal
No, nothing.
content.
Nothing personal at all. Nothing personal.
No, the reason I was asking is like food influencers, they go shopping, they put themselves.
No,
Right?
I don't
Or
do
there
these
are
things.
chefs who go how to buy ingredients. So different kinds of stories you can tell in your content.
Correct.
So I was wondering, what is it that you like to do and you're comfortable with?
Yeah.
And that is, you said, like cooking and food
Yes,
in your
exactly.
kitchen,
Yeah.
and then restaurants.
Restaurants and reviews, exactly. Yes, correct.
So a lot of people think that once you start posting and you build a good following, you start earning money from it. So brand deals are something people always want to know how to get. So do you have any tips on that?
Absolutely. Now, there are 2 angles to how brands tend to approach influencers or content creators. To be honest, I'd love to say that imperfection is gold to creating content. What do I mean?
Yes.
So you don't have to be perfect to create content. You don't have to look super good. You don't have to be fresh all the time. Just be yourself, be whoever you are. And looking at that, brands tend to have an approach. When they look at you, they see if you are the right or the perfect look for what they want to represent their brand to the market or to the audience. High-end brands, medium, well-known, famous brands, or brands that are not even common or known in the market. Ironically, high-end brands do not actually pay. Because they're famous enough, they know where they stand in the market, so they will not even go in an argument with you. Whether you like to showcase their brand, go ahead, it's up to you. But you're not gaining anything except that you're showcasing a big brand, But if you're trying to introduce a brand that is not common in the market, those guys actually pay. And they pay a good deal of money because they know that with this exposure that they're getting through you, they will be known to the market and the followers will understand exactly where this brand is coming from. So these are the 2 approaches. The barter, where, do this for me and I'm happy if you showcase my brand. Or the paid collaboration, where we'll give you, for instance, this hamper or this particular set of ingredients for you to cook a special dish using those ingredients. So I've worked with both. I see there are certain brands that you can respect enough to give them that exposure through your profile. And there are other brands that I actually turned down. I told them, no, thank you. This is not the model that I'm looking to work with. How they approach me or why they approach me, it's through agencies. So agencies have a set of food bloggers or chefs or IT tech creators. So they approach and specialize in filtering those bloggers or content creators, and they start talking to them and understanding how they work and how they operate. Then when they get a feed of you, a word goes out to the market. And all of a sudden, a lot of agencies will start approaching you because it's one big circle where everyone talks to each other, you know.
So, big brands you use in your content so that you showcase that you've done work with a big brand, and the smaller brands you get paid because you're bringing awareness to them.
Correct. Absolutely correct. If you put it that way, yes.
And then if you build yourself a portfolio of sorts, then agencies will help you get more work.
Correct. And to give you even more detail about that, let's look at Instagram. So on Instagram, you have a story, you have a reel that you post, and you have carousel, or how do you pronounce it? Carousel. You have carousels that you post as well. Each of these come with a price. And I also have a rate card that's a bundle. So I can issue a set of stories for you, a set of reels at a certain given period of time. I can do 2 or 3 revisions for that particular cost. So all of these come in within that. I didn't know that when I started. I didn't know any of that. Okay. I came to know that with time, and I came to know that other chefs charge quite a lot of money, you know, and they're telling me, boss, you're bringing us down, you know. I'm like, listen, I work with what I think is fair and reasonable for that brand or that particular project that's required from me, you know. I don't ask a lot of money. I make sure that it's reasonable enough for everyone to be satisfied to what I can deliver to my audience. And if I can do it for free, which is majority of the time, I do it for free.
So everybody should have like a media kit when you have your rate card ready to go.
Exactly.
So when there's an inquiry, the faster you get to them, the chance of you getting that job is higher.
Correct.
Because if you take too long, they've already made the decision and you've lost that chance.
Exactly. That's the challenge. Not much attention, but chefs were enforced to use certain recipes that would influence a decision of a ruler or a king in favor of something, you know.
How they felt.
Exactly. So, and this is true, by the way, you know, in different, if you go back to the Pharaohs or the Roman Empire or any of these empires back in the day, the king or the ruler taking the decision was influenced through food, whether it's cooked by a wife or a girlfriend or some of the people in the palace or stuff. There were certain ingredients that were used to influence that decision. So I'm actually focusing on writing a book from different angles that touches base on that, you know. So I named it The Forbidden Recipe. How soon will that be ready? 3 chapters into the book right now.
Along with everything else.
Yeah.
That also.
It's exactly, you know, but it's something that I'm actually really passionate about. I can't wait to finish it and hopefully take it out to the public.
So what I see is that we're both passionate about getting more people to cook at home, knowing what people should eat, because in the end, that's what affects our health, our body, our life.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the questions I ask everybody who's a guest here, that as a food influencer, how do you look at the responsibility that you hold when you put out food content?
Well, the outcome or the delivery that I'm trying to give to my audience is something for them to enjoy. Not just enjoy watching, because food is no longer a recipe or a set of ingredients on a piece of paper or something that you follow. It's something that you enjoy. So I make sure that whatever I'm putting up forward to my people is something that they will love to watch, love to learn, and actually enjoy creating or doing it at home in their own way, you know. So yes, I care a lot about the end result of what I produce and what I create. I care a lot about how people see it and perceive the dish that I make, even if they're my colleagues at work or my family at home or my friends. I like to listen to what they have to tell me, whether it's a criticism note to something I did or something funny that they caught and found funny or something serious. You know, I love and enjoy listening to these kind of comments.
So let's end it with a very interesting comment that you ever got.
To be honest, there's nothing on the top of my head right now.
Okay.
You get a lot of comments, you know. Majority are very positive.
Stood out.
Yeah, majority are positive and loving comments. That's really nice. That's cool. I'd love to try this at home. How did you do that? Is it easy? What do you think if I add this particular ingredient? Would that make any difference? Where did you buy this from? Is it available here in Dubai? You know, so things like that. But in general, thankfully, alhamdulillah, majority of the comments are good. Yeah.
So what I get from that is people like to have a back and forth and a conversation. So there's like a whole community that you build around the content that you put out.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's the asset that you have.
You know, I like to deliver the same importance that my followers have given to me when they're talking to me or approaching me with a direct message. I like to share that same feeling with them again. You know, I want them to feel that they're also important because they're listening to me and they're following me and they're asking me questions. So I make sure they have that same feeling that they're also sharing with me. You know, it makes a difference.
Correct. Yeah. What is the ingredient that you like the most and one that you just don't like, can't stand?
Well, to be honest, recently I don't really publicize much about this, but I like sumac. Now, sumac has this earthy, citrusy flavor that adds a lot to my dishes, especially if we're doing salad or even if I'm just drinking it with water. But the one that I don't really like a lot is the truffle oil. I know it's been trending a lot. A lot of dishes have truffle, burgers, pizzas, whatever. I just can't stand the smell and flavor of truffle if it's not made properly. And I tend to take a side from truffle. Yeah.
So thank you for coming in, and it was great chatting with you. I hope the users and the people who want to become food influencers get some value from this chat.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
If you like what you're hearing, follow for more.